Well, hello. How are you doing, everybody? I just had a walk, so I'm sorry if I'm not sorry, I just want to let you know why my hair is all over the place. It's quite windy today in Berlin, and I feel a little bit like a anchor news person who needs to break the ice, I guess. I don't know. Also, my voice apparently starts to feel how it is to talk for so long. So forgive me if I'm gonna cough here and there. But yeah, gonna get used to streaming. Second day in a row, 7:15 p.m. We can do this. So today we're gonna be doing React. Yesterday in the live stream, we figured that, so we finished our awareness app, and we thought that we're not going to do responsive of that app because everything was being built from scratch. And honestly, when you build things from scratch, is a little bit of it's not as easy as it might seem. And if you want to cover many scenarios and many different screen widths and things like that, then things can get more complicated. Also, how many times did I say the word things? So we decided not to go with that and stopped right there. And now we're gonna be building our first React app live. I do have other React things that I built before on my API challenge, if you're familiar with that one. Let me check if I left you a link to that. Well, in the description of this live stream or of the recording, if you're watching it later, I have my website, and in the website you can find it. I think, yeah, you probably can. If not, then it's called the Ultimate API Challenge. You can check it out. But today we're gonna be building something in React that is gonna be very beginner friendly. We're, as I said yesterday, we're just gonna dip our toes in that. We're not gonna overwhelm ourselves. We're gonna go through it together, step by step, so you could kind of, I don't know, get the feeling of React, get to see how things are working, and not like overloading ourselves with things that we need to consider. Yeah, so I'm gonna show you what we're gonna be building. 1 second. There we go. So this is Dribble, and we have already before found our other design on Dribble, so I decided why not. There are tons of awesome designers leaving their projects here, and we can kind of use it for our project. So I kind of did a little bit of a digging, and I tried to find something that we can use, but I still didn't settle on one thing, and that's because of the complexity. I don't want something overly complicated, but I also don't know if we want to so after we build it, if we want to hook it up to an API. Hey Guru, what's up? Thanks for joining. And that's why I'm not really settled on a design, but let me show you which one I liked and which one we might go for. So you can see here, if I start from the bottom, then these ones, so I have a couple of them that I did for last time, but we're gonna focus probably on those 6 ones. We're not gonna do 6, we're just gonna choose one. So let's maybe check one. This is kind of yeah, so here they have other examples or views of the dashboard. One thing that I noticed as a common thing is that everybody has this graphs, and I don't want to do graphs. We could, but do we want to really? I mean, in order to make a graph, you really need to have a lot of data. And if we're going to start just focusing on mocking data, then I don't know if that's what we want to do. But we could also like use the whole website or like the whole design without the graph and kind of like replace it with something else. But for example, in this case, there are two graphs, and then there are a little bit of tiny graphs on the right bottom side. So it's kind of like you're going to be replacing almost the whole website. So no. Then there is this calendar, which is again like pretty complex. And there is all these visuals. I'm not really keen on doing that because I think we could focus maybe on doing more of the actual React and JavaScript and things like that. Then I have this one, an e-commerce, which is, spoiler alert, one of my favorites, because I think that here we could really mock some good amount of data. I mean, ignore the what did I call them? The graphs on the right side, but focus like on the main thing. So it has like a navigation with some links, and then on the left side it has a nav bar, also a navigation. And then the dashboard has some cards, and it has like different information. It also, so you see that, yeah, you can see that. Can I enlarge it? So on this part with the AirPods, you have like a green thingy here, and we could, for example, later on do in JavaScript, depending if the tendency goes higher or lower, we could do it in red or in green. So kind of like these tiny details, I think it's really worth working with. So you see like here below with the, what is it, an iMac, I guess, or like the new monitor they have. This one would be red, and it will need to show like an arrow down. So these kind of things, you know, and it has like kind of like a nice smooth design to it. So I think we could probably do something with that. We would probably not do everything as well. Maybe we would actually cut out the right bar, so we're not going to have the total sales and stuff because we don't have the data for this. And then they have other, so this one, what was it? This one is clients. And we could also have this, so that means that we can create maybe like some simple routing. And then this one is a little bit more complex and with the lovely graphs that I absolutely adore. Oh, does this remind you of something? Yeah, no, me neither. Anyway, so that's one option. Then we have this one. And I thought that this one is a little bit more simple. I don't know if I'm wrong, but it also kind of looks nice. We don't have any additional design, so that would be only the one dash that we have, which is also fine because we don't have to straight away jump to routing. We could also like take it easy and just build a single page. Then we have this one, which is a really like dash. And in here, so you have kind of like a double navigation and some stuff on the top, and then the products, which is a table. So this one can also be like a very simple thing, but I feel like it has a lot of data needs to be mocked, and maybe we're not there yet, because we're going to need a lot of time. So I'm searching for something that is going to be the simplest to mock the data for, to use in our UI, as well as something that could a little bit challenge us, you know, not to be just like clone UI, but actually like doing some tiny JavaScript stuff here and there. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Then we have this one, which is again a little bit more of mocking. Yeah, it's fine. We can skip that. Oh, and this one was also my favorite because this is actually, apart from the graphs, this one looks like a very simple one. Without any routing, any nothing. You just have those cards and like sections, and that's it. You're building from there. But again, so I like the simplicity of it, but I don't like the amount of graphs that it offers. And I mean, we could remove the graphs, but then what do you put there? Yeah, I don't know. So I think I'm gonna choose this one. What do you say? Whoever is watching it, do you think that this one is a good example to start with for our dashboard? I think it looks pretty neat, right? So what would we have here? We would have a navigation bar, a sidebar, and then our dashboard. And if we want, we will create routing, maybe another stream. I mean, there is no way that we're also going to finish the whole stream, like the whole dashboard today, because it's quite some things to do. But we could definitely start, right? Okay, I'm gonna start. So let me first, all right. So I did put all the, it's not the assets, but all the code for the, like the starter files. It's already in the description box of this live stream, or the recorded video if you're watching it recorded. It's under get the code here. It's on GitHub. It's called React Dashboard, the repository. So download that one, and then let me show you. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna close the other one. Good. So here's our lovely app. How I run it is you have options. You can or go to package.json if you're using Visual Studio Code, and you can just I think somehow like you can click on the start here, run script, and then it's gonna run inside of here. But it's gonna run with npm. I run this project with Yarn. So in your terminal, go to the file of this place, to the place of this file, of this folder, and you need to do first yarn add, I think, or yarn install, in order to get all of these things as your node modules, and then you can do yarn start, and you're gonna have your app running on localhost 3000. And here is where we start coding. So let's maybe check like very quick what we have here. So how did I even get here? There is it's like a command that you get from React. It's called npx create react app, and then you provide the name of your app, and you can basically just like start your project. So it gives you this boilerplate. Package.json is kind of like our core. It's like our passport of our project. You have the name, the version, I don't know, based on what they decide the version. Private, not sure. You can make it public. I don't know. I don't know if you need it, because my repository is public, so maybe it's just by default private. But it doesn't matter. I don't think it affects much, just if you have it as a project. So then React gives us some testing libraries. Then I added Bootstrap, because we're going to be using Bootstrap. Although I said that I'm going to be using Bootstrap 4, and here it's Bootstrap 5. That's not what I wanted. Okay, I'm going to fix that later. So React is the version 17th of it. And then we have some React scripts, which enable us to do some stuff. For example, one of them is going to be CSS modules. We're also going to do this. Yes. I am a big fan of CSS modules, and it's super easy to use it. And then React offers also web vitals. Then we have some scripts. We don't need to really take care of them now. We just need to know that there is a start script, and then some ESLint configs, browsers lists, and stuff. Yeah, very, very boilerplatey. Let me know if you have worked with React before, or if that's your first time, so I will know what we're like, not what we're dealing with, but to know if to go like more into details or less into details and how much of it. Also, feel free to ask at any point if something is unclear, if I'm going too fast or too slow. Give me some feedback. I'm all ears. Then, usually you have a README file. I just added my own. Yarn.lock is something that you get generated after you run yarn install. Then I also put a prettier RC config because I like when things are indented by themselves. In the previous streams, we didn't have that, and that was kind of like really annoying. I don't have the time to indent stuff by myself. So yeah, it's very basic configs. I think in order to make it work, you need to have the extension in Visual Studio Code called Prettier, and after you install that, it should work just out of the box. And then I also added a .gitignore, which will tell our repository which files not to push to our repository on GitHub, because you don't want to have sorry, you don't want to have all your files on GitHub. Some files you don't need to push. For example, node modules are one of them. I didn't know that when I just started coding. I remember first time that I pushed to GitHub, I tried to push with node modules, and GitHub was kind of like crashing because node modules can be quite heavy, especially if you're, I don't know, if you have some, I don't know how many modules and how much they weigh, but it can be a little bit too much for GitHub, and it's not necessary because that's what you have the package.json for. Here is everything what you have in node modules, and that's how you can make like your repositories very lightweight, that you don't push your node modules to GitHub or to any other Git version that you're using, and yeah, just have it. So like I pushed my code to GitHub and you got it and you just ran yarn install or yarn install. Same way everybody else is going to do it, so there is no need to push the node modules. So that's just like a little heads up, because I feel like not everybody's talking about it, or at least I didn't know that. So yeah. Hi Asma, what's up? Good to see you here again. Then we have our public folder with our favicon or favicon. I never know how to pronounce it, and I clearly don't care enough. What's a favicon is this thing that you see in our tab. Then we have our index.html. So okay, here's the favicon. Then we have our index.html, which has a lot of things, but the most important part, you need to know that it has this thing, the ID with root. And that is the only thing we're gonna have of HTML in React. I don't know if we should go into details how React works, but basically React, or I think any other modern JavaScript framework, they just find one div that you define and they render for you the whole app in it. And that's why it's called single page application, I think, or at least that's how it was intended. Anyway, remember this div with the ID of root. Then we have several logos, which I assume this is what we're displaying here, or maybe not. Manifest.json is something that also React gives us, and it's included here in the index. Then we have robots.txt, which is for search engines. So you would probably change it later on to something else. And that's all from our public folder. All of our stuff are going to go in the source. Jainil is asking how much time it takes to learn React. Well, I don't know really. I think that depends how much time you have to spend on learning React. So like, are you going to be intense learning it every day for like 10 hours, or are you going to do it like 2 hours a day, or maybe like 2 hours a week? I think when you know like basic JavaScript and then you move to React, then it's going to be easier than not knowing JavaScript and starting with React. But yeah, it takes some time. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. It really depends on your own way of learning and how you do stuff. But what I can tell you, I like measuring things in projects. So if you would do, for example, a couple of projects of simple level, then a couple of projects of a little bit more advanced with routing, with props, and then you're gonna move to a couple of projects with APIs, getting data, receiving data, working with hooks. Then I think after like this bunch of projects, you would get a good amount of knowledge in React in order to kind of like be a little bit more confident than before. If you're asking in order to get employed, then I think this amount of projects is going to be quite good for you to start as a junior. But that's also given that you understand JavaScript, right? Because React is just like it's just a code on top of JavaScript, and all the like logic that comes inside of React, it's JavaScript. So like, for example, when you work with APIs in React, let's say you need to use some functions and methods to change your data or to make it more suitable for your interface, then this is all JavaScript. This is not React. React is just the way that things flow, and you have some stuff, but it's not everything. So yeah. Hi, finally not too late. Yay, hello. Is your name is like Maex, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Mike's 135. Glad to see you here. Hello, hello. So yeah. I hope that answered the question, Janil. Let me know if you have any more questions, or if you have something specific in mind, maybe. So as I was saying, we went through our public is it project? No. Didn't we agree to increase text size? I did increase it. Y'all, seriously. Let me show you. So I go to my, let's do a live increasing of the font. So you're gonna tell me what's better. So if I go here and I do it 16, I already increased it. Is that better? My name is Nico. Okay, Nico. 16.5. I think that's a good one, right? This should be enough. Don't look at all the other settings, like they don't matter to you. Like it's only this font that we're focusing on. Everything else is stuff that I do for myself. So is this font all right? I really need to change my name here. I mean, it could be helpful, depends. Yeah, it's better. Cool, alrighty. I hope the topic of the font size is over now. For good. Cool. So what I was saying is that we went through our public thingy, and then we have our source file folder. I'm gonna like mix folder and files a lot. It's good, cool. So the source folder is where we are going to do our main work, and let's check what we have there. So we have our app CSS, which is basically all the styling that you see now in this page. It's what it is, because if I'm going to select everything and comment it, then you're going to see that it changed. Yeah, see? Not nice, right? So for now, let's keep it, but I just wanted to show you what it is. Then we have our app.js, which is also kind of like our core. Everything here is our core when it comes to the app. First, hello everyone, hey! Nico, maybe another poll on Insta, yeah, we'll see. Well, actually, now that you're mentioning it, people have voted that the font size was fine enough. Let me even check it right now. Because, I mean, y'all be saying that I don't have a good font, but I don't know what you're talking about. So, here we go. 7 people by now said that it's just fine. 3 said that it's small. So yeah, I don't know. But I guess. Fabio is asking, which theme do you use in Visual Studio? I don't know. Let's check. What's my theme? Noctis, apparently. It's this one. I sometimes change themes, but yeah. I'm actually thinking, well, in order to close the topic of fonts, I'm thinking of purchasing a font called Mona Lisa. Is it? Because it's a font designed for software developers. Look how neat it is. Mona Lisa. Don't lie, I voted too small for sure. Well, there were very, very few of you, so. Nobody voted for too big though. But okay, I expected somebody to vote for too big. But yeah, here's like a very nice font that I think I'm gonna purchase one day to kind of like make everybody happy with my fonting, because it has like this cool stuff, you know. But anyway, we're not here to talk about font. So our app.js, our core of everything what's going on, we're gonna start here soon, but just remember that it's there. Then we have app.test.js. I don't know if we're actually gonna go and start adding tests eventually. Maybe we will. I don't know how you want. Maybe I'm gonna do another poll on Instagram for that. Then we have Index.js, which is like a generic one that we have for the whole app. So if you want to add something on the body, you would add it here. Index.js is the thing that makes React work. So the app is our first component, kind of, and then we have our I don't know, configuration that makes it work, and it's called this thing. That's the name. It's called this thing. No, it's right here. So it's react-dom.render, and basically this is also something that React provides. But remember, in index.html, I told you to remember this div with the ID root. This is exactly what, where was it? Index.js, here React is doing. It's finding this element. It gets the element by ID, so a very simple vanilla JavaScript, like retrieving of an element from the DOM and the root, and that's where it's gonna render all of our stuff. So if one day you decide that you want to change this ID root to ID blah, then you would need to go to index.js and change it to blah, because otherwise it's not gonna find it. I like it, but the font size was really fine. See, thank you, Asma, thank you. I need people who are on my side. So, see? People voted. Okay, then we have this report with vitals, which I didn't check really much what it is, but React put it there, so we're gonna allow React to keep it there. Then we have the logo, which I assume is this one. I don't know what the other logos are for, probably the favicons. This is the report web vitals and the setup tests. I would recommend you not to remove anything if you don't know what it's doing, because then you can end up with an application that doesn't work. And yes, I am speaking from experience. And then you delete stuff and you don't know why and you don't know, blah. So my little tiny advice for today, don't delete stuff. Unless you're really sure that you need to delete them and that they don't affect your app at all. Alrighty, so for the ones who just joined, I want to show you what we're going to be building, and it's this lovely page. We were kind of like checking out which dashboard to build, and I decided to build this one because of the simplicity of it, because it doesn't have too many graphs, which apparently is a thing now. And I don't know if we're going to build like the right side of this page, but we will definitely build this whole part. For now, it's probably going to be just one route. We're not going to do the routing yet today, but I think we could aim to have maybe the navigation, the sidebar, and the dashboard. Maybe I'm just too optimistic because that might be too much. But we have Bootstrap today, so things are going to be smoother. Also, I did a mistake and I got the Bootstrap 5, and I don't want Bootstrap 5. And the reason why I don't want it is because there are breaking changes when it comes to Bootstrap 4 and Bootstrap 5. So yeah, let's go to download, and I want this one. No, yarn. Can I just like, I'm just gonna put, so there is this version here. I'm just gonna copy this and I'm gonna put this here, paste, save. So how I do when I change some stuff, I'm removing the yarn lock. It's probably just like personal preference, but sometimes like, yeah, you probably don't need to do that. It can override itself. Let's just override it. But the node modules I do delete usually. So I would remove this. And now in my terminal, which is in another, it's in another window, so I'm not gonna show you. But what I'm doing basically is that, or can I show you? Yeah, I think I can show you that. Wait, let me move it. So where I am, here I am. You see it? Is it too small? It's probably too small. There we go. And there we go. Now everybody can be happy and see it. So let's clear this thing. So I'm in the folder of the project, and I'm gonna do yarn install. And it's gonna install all the things that I asked. You see, Bootstrap 4.6. That's what I wanted, because the Bootstrap 5. Let's not complicate our stuff. Can you share a link of dashboard? Yes, sure. Let me copy this. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. There we go. Should be fine. So, after we did this, let me hide it. Let's go to our code, and you can see that our node modules are back, and that's what I was telling you about, that there is no need to push node modules to Git, because as soon as you do yarn install, everything is there. And our yarn log got updated. It's green because I still didn't push it. Yeah. By the way, if you're coding along, then the code is in the description box. It's in the get the code here. Or you can just go to my GitHub if you already have it on, on speed dial, which I assume you don't. And it's called React Dashboard. Yeah. So, Bootstrap 4.6, yay. Now, so the only thing that I added here was Bootstrap. Everything else was like custom from React. And let me show you where I added it. So I went to Index.js and I added this import here, which is what they tell you in the React documentation. So if I go to create React app, they have this awesome docs, which are not this one, this one, yeah. Let's make it bigger. So here in the docs, is it this one? Adding, building your app, adding Bootstrap, there we go. So that's what I did, this one, yarn add Bootstrap, and I didn't define the version, that's why it gave me the fifth one, because that's the latest one. And then it says import Bootstrap CSS and optionally Bootstrap theme CSS in the beginning of your source Index.js. And that's what we did. It's here on top, but actually I prefer to just put it here because it kind of goes together with this CSS, but it for sure needs to be on top of your regular CSS. Otherwise, your CSS is going to be overwritten by Bootstrap. And you don't want that, right? Because otherwise, why would you write your CSS? So save it. And let's start. Shall we? So I'm going to make this bigger because we're going to focus on the code. We don't have to see anything here yet. And let's maybe break down what we're going to start with. Okay, let me also open it side by side so we're not going to jump here and there all the time. And there we go. So we have our, I don't know if you can see this here. So we have our top thing. Then we have the SideNav. So that's already 2 components. Then we have our dashboard, which also kind of have its own navigation, but we're gonna ignore this one, okay? We're not gonna focus on this one. We're not gonna be building this today. That's also the beauty of components, that you can just later on just insert something in between something. No, you'll see. You have like a much easier and more understood structure, that it's easier to just like insert things in places and without like going too crazy. Because if you remember yesterday in our awareness app, it was like it was getting quite complicated because you were having like a huge tree and the huge HTML, and it's already like, where are we? So let's just write some commands here. Oh, okay. So first, how I like to structure my code is that in the source folder, I like to create a components folder. Components. And then every component is going to have its own folder. And I'll show you, yeah, I'll show you why eventually. Let's maybe start coding a little bit, because otherwise it's a lot of information without like solidifying it with actual code. So maybe it doesn't make all sense yet. But we said, let's go to our app.js. So we're going to remove, I'm going to show you how this happens. So we're going to remove these things. And now with just commands, we're going to write which components we're going to have. So we said that we're going to have a navigation. Maybe we can call it top navigation. So that's another thing with components, that you don't need to name it as the HTML tags. You can just like name them as you want, what makes more sense to you. Then we have side navigation, and components are actually written with capital letters. I think this came from, so initially older versions of React, you were able to do only classes in React, which is also another topic. If you feel spicy and you want to check classes, then I have 2 videos about it, with working with APIs, but that might be a little bit too advanced for now. I'll redirect you there once it's time, and if you feel like doing that. So we have top navigation, side navigation, and then we have the dashboard. And the dashboard I'm still not breaking down, although we will break it down per card, but not yet. So those are going to be our 3 main components, and we're going to make it work somehow. Yeah, okay. I'm very excited to start this project. No, I am. So let's create those components. So how we create them, we go to components, or click here on this new folder thingy, or you just right click. And I have like some extension here as well that makes this thingy appear here, like those options. So you're probably not going to have that, but don't stress, that's fine. But yeah, new folder. Let's create the top navigation. We can also call it TopNav and SideNav instead of top navigation, side navigation, TopNav. Short and to the point. TopNav, so now I'm going to show you the structure that every component folder is going to have, and it's Index.js, then TopNav.js, You can do JS or you can do GS6. It doesn't matter. Does it? I don't think it matters. Yeah, I don't think it is. You want to do GS6? That's the language of React, and then you get a cutie icon like this next to it. Fine, let's do it. And then we're going to add our CSS, because most likely every component is going to have its own CSS. And that's another thing that it's important here. Pay attention, it's topnav.module.css. And why I name it module is because then the CSS is scoped to this specific component. So if you have a class called .button in the TopNav, and then you have a class called .button in the SideNav, they are not going to conflict with each other. So it's not like in our awareness app where we had to do stats and we had to do, what else do we have there? Precautions. You can just do box, and it's going to be specific to this component, and it's not going to override each other, which is freaking awesome, because especially if you work in bigger applications, like imagine the headache that you would need to be sure that this class never repeats itself. I mean, you have specific methodologies for that, like BEM, for example, but I feel that with BEM, it's very easy to get carried away and just like get like this amount of letters in your classes. If you don't know what BEM is, it's block element modifier, kind of like naming convention. So that's how it works. You name something button, and then you do button on -- state -- or __. So if you're interested in that, check it out. It's an interesting methodology that we actually used to use in both of the places that I used to work, but and in one that I'm still working. But we're not going to be using it today. Hey, Kalyani! Hey, what's up? Awesome that you joined. So, CSS modules. Yeah. Also, if you want to read more about it, wait a second. It's hard to sit still for so long. What did I want to show you? Yeah, I wanted to show you the Create React app docs that we just looked at. They also have the module CSS. So just so you know that I'm not inventing this stuff, right? It's like, it's from the official documentation, okay? Where was it? Styles here? Yeah, adding CSS modules. So yeah, that's why we need the React scripts. Remember I told you that they do something? That's what they do, among probably other things. So you write component.module.css. And you see you can have error, and they don't override each other. I think it would be awesome if you could stream in 1080p sometimes. I think that's also the problem with the text size. Oh, it's not in 1080. Yeah, I need to configure that. That's a good point. I'll check it out later on tonight, how I can do that. Yeah, maybe that's the thing, because is it blurry? Oh, that sucks. Let me write it down before I forget it. Stream in 1080. Cool. Nice. Thanks. I'll check it out. Alrighty, so we got probably the gist of CSS modules, right? Then, so why did we create all of those 3 files? Index.js, no, let's start with the component. The component is going to have the following structure. Yeah, Visual Studio Code doesn't want to work with me, maybe. So I have another extension that is allowing me to write RCC, and then I press tab, and then it completes stuff. Kalyani says 720p looks all right. Okay, good to know. But I could probably still bump it up to 1080. I mean, I have a professional camera here, so it should be able to do that. It's probably somewhere in the settings that I'm missing it. But good to know that it's also fine, like this. Thanks. So, basic structure of a component, you import React from React. then you create a function, and then you export the function. Here, of course, we don't have the name of it yet, but you name it. Usually you name it the same as your component in general, unless you have several components, and you put it here. And here we can write TopNav, just so we know. Kalani, are you gonna implement Redux Store as well? No, I don't think so. So for this one, I think we're not gonna go that much into like crazy states, so we would not need Redux. But probably once we're gonna like start using like APIs and a lot of data, then we could for sure. Yeah. I'm also thinking about, so I have currently a project in React and I need to refactor it, and it's like a personal project, right? So I can show the code to you. That's like, I don't have NDAs that are signed anywhere. So I'm thinking maybe to also stream that. But then again, that would be like less of an explanation and more just like taking you along on how I code, and then you could just like ask in the chat if you have questions. What do you think about this format? It's not going to replace those streams, but I'm thinking about maybe streaming that earlier in the morning. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. But for sure I'm gonna also keep this format because I think it's quite nice, and I also like talking with you all. So no Redux for now. That's, I guess, my answer. Save it, and then in the index you're gonna, I also have another shortcut, and you're gonna import export the thingy. You could probably have like other stuff and like write it differently. I know people who just do import export in one line, but whatever, it doesn't, you're not being charged for those lines, so you can write several lines. That's also fine. Why do we import export it? Why do we have this index file? Is that because when we go to app.js and we want to import, let me show you, import TopNav from our components, and we select TopNav. So that's just the folder. We would need to do another slash and do again TopNav. So in order to avoid those things, you add the Index.js and it imports, exports it, and then you don't need to have like those long names and repetition. So yeah, that's what it's there for. Maybe also for other reasons, but that's one of the reasons that I know of. If we save it, are we gonna see it? Oh, I'm not running it, wait, because I was installing things, right? Yarn start. So, is that what we get? Didn't I put TopNav here? Yeah, I did. Oh, that's another thing that is going to happen quite often, that I just forget to include things here. That's how you include the component. So we imported it, and then you need to use it, and that's the syntax how you're using it. You save it, and there we go, our TopNav. A quick question, which component do you prefer, class or functional? So that's a very, very, very good question. Story time. So before, I think React 16 or 15 or 14 or 30, I don't remember exactly but it's not that long ago that there were classes and there were functions. And the big difference between the two was that if you wanted to have a state in your component, then you would have to use classes. There was absolutely no other way for you to use state in functional components. However, that has changed with the newer versions of React, which is also what we're using. And now you can use in functional components states with hooks, which is awesome. I like hooks is the best thing that happened to React. Because of hooks, I actually started using React more than Vue.js. Before that, I avoided React at any cost, and I really didn't like it. It was way too complicated, way too bulky. 16.8, yeah, cool. Really? Was it that late? No, I think it was even earlier. It was probably on the like 16 something, right? Because 16.8 is quite recent. But yeah, if like now, if you would ask me if I use classes of functional, I absolutely don't use any classes component. It was a little bit confusing to me, the way that the props were there, the way that they were updated, the lifecycle events were weird, and I didn't like it. And also, I think even at work, we used to have like older code, but that one got really fast removed and swapped for later versions of React, because I think everybody had enough with those classes and everybody wanted just to move to functions. And it's just like so much neater. So yeah, definitely functions and hooks. Hooks. Oh, Nicholas, thank you for subscribing. So yeah, that's functions, and I write them as consts like this. So ES6 syntax. I think actually the app, you have to keep it as a regular function. Although I don't know if that's true, but I remember once changing it and it broke. So I think that might have been the reason. So keep that. So as I said, whatever React gives you, keep it, add on top of it. That's the rule of thumb for today. Ibrahim is asking what you chose, React or Flutter. I chose React. I don't know Flutter. Yep. Does anybody know Flutter or interested in Flutter? It's kind of like getting a lot of like traction now, Flutter, right? That's what I saw recently. At least on Instagram, it's pretty popular. Genuinely saying 1080p would be really nice. Code is difficult to look in 720. Okay, gotcha. Got the feedback. I'll look into it today, and hopefully I could stream tomorrow in 1080. Okay, so where were we? We were in the TopNav, right? So you see that it's also centered. We didn't add this. Where is this coming from? Usually everything that you add is aligned to the left top. So what's going on there? That's probably our app CSS, right? Yeah. Poop. Oops. Remove all of that. Save it. There we go. Abhinaba, hello, hello, welcome. So we removed our CSS. We don't need it. My current project is based on class component and it's so confusing, and they're not planning to move to hooks. No, why? Why are they not planning? Are they bound? Like, I mean, I could understand if the project is very big and it's kind of like not a top priority to move stuff. But yeah, I feel you. Yeah, it's quite tough. I know. And it just feels like, don't you feel that it's also a little bit too bulky? Like, you cannot really break it down. You always end up with one component that is going to have all this freaking huge thing there, which is really unnecessary. But yeah, I hope they're going to move out soon from there, from the classes, because it's kind of sucky, no? And I mean, that's kind of the reality as well. Like, as developers, we are learning like this hot new stuff, technologies and everything, and then you go to work and then you need to deal with like, I don't know, jQuery. I don't hate jQuery. I just think that jQuery is a little bit of an old school thing, right? Yeah. Oh, you know, I have one application where we're using soy templates. So, Kalyani, if you feel bad about using classes in React, I can tell you that there are some people who are having it worse and they're using soy templates. If you don't know what it is, it's okay. That's better. My name is Arabic and you pronounce it well. Do you speak Arabic? No, I don't. I did grow up in Israel, and we had a lot of Ibrahim there, so I guess that's why. I don't know. Also in Russian, yeah, I'm not gonna go into the history of my ethnicity and where I come from. That's gonna take ages. But also in Russian, you have Ibrahim. So yeah, Ibrahim. But good to know I'm pronouncing it well. Back to React. So we created the index. I told you about the TopNav, and also we created the classes. So let's try and, not the classes, the CSS. Let's try and apply one class. Let's name it .text, because I want to show you the modules. So let's do font size of 1.5 rem. If we refresh, it's not applied yet. 1 second, I'm going to get to the message before I lose my train of thought. And in here, we import styles from our module.css. And you import styles this way. I mean, I don't know if you have to, but I think that's kind of like the point of it, is it? I don't know. Okay, don't quote me on that, but that's how I do it. And then in React, you do class name. You don't do class because of what we spoke just like 2 seconds ago, that they used to have class things. So like instead of functions. And I think that's why they don't do classes. That's also probably like a couch theory. I don't know. So you do styles.text, and the text represents the name that we put here. Save it. And now our font should be bigger. And now look at the fun part. If we inspect it, let's check what we have here. My inspector is probably also tiny. I think that one, that will do, right? So if we select this, you see that the class is TopNav underscore text underscore underscore some ID. This is what the module CSS is doing. So if you have text here, the class, and then you have another class on another div that is also text, it's going to prepend it with the name of the component, and then it's going to append it, right, at the end with some random ID, which I don't know what ID represents. It's probably something that React does. And that's why they're never going to override each other. So that's what module CSS is doing, they do, yeah. So, wait, Kalyani says, yes, it is. I can't even tell how hard it is to debug the code, and store implementation with that make me cry. Yeah. Do you use then Redux as well at work? Because I would imagine that with classes, you would need to have Redux, right? In order to make it, I actually don't know if it makes it less complicated or easier. Not sure. Okay. Let's now, so we said, let me remove this gigantic. This one is fine, right? Like this. If I'm gonna keep my console like this, is it visible? Please say yes, yes, yes. So let's create all the components that we said we're gonna have. We said that we're gonna have, let me put this one here below. So we have our top navigation. Let's create our side nav and our dashboard, our dashy dash. Remove the logo from here. We're not using it. You don't need it. So again, components, new folder, SideNav, and then you do Index.js, do etc. Also, if you're interested in those shortcuts, let me know. I can maybe share them later on. Import SideNav from SideNav. It's gonna error because it's not gonna find it, or maybe it's not gonna even try because we don't import it anywhere. Then you do SideNav.gs6, and then I do RCC and SideNav. So it's very bootstrappy, no, templatey. You do this again and again and again and again and again until you're tired of it. But this is mainly something that you do when you just start a project. You don't always do it all the time because sometimes you just change the code within the existing components. SideNav.module.css, and in here we're gonna import it. I'm just gonna copy it from here. What am I copying? I need to copy this. Yeah, you don't have to put it in a new line. I just like to separate things. SideNav. Yeah. Yes, Redux. It makes easier to access the data throughout the app, but then multiple store values confuse me. Yeah, I can imagine. I kind of like the thing how I work, or I started working like with Redux and also like with use reducers or providers and context and everything in React when it comes to like stores and storing things. I was just like trying to follow the flow and make like a system out of it in my head. It was a lot of copy pasting of like existing stuff, but eventually it was kind of like, okay, so this goes here and then it goes here and then it goes here and then it goes here. It's actually a thing that I had to do today at work. I had to, I don't know if I'm sharing too much. I had to basically go into one of our repositories and extend the object that we have with some data that is going throughout the website. And it was kind of hard to understand where this data come from initially and where to add it in order to be able to access it in one specific place. But yeah, it did remind me of those early days when I was trying to understand how use reducer works or any store actually works, because I started working with Vue in my very first job, Vue and Vuex. And I actually think that maybe because I work with Vuex, then React and reducers and stuff like that made more sense, because I think Vue is very beginner friendly. But that's not where the industry is at. We're using React. And I don't mind so much with React hooks, but Vue is pretty cool as well. And I think it's much more beginner friendly also because of the syntax, because you don't have, for example, class names there. Just have class. It's kind of like an extended HTML. React is not really an extended HTML. React is like its own world comparing to Vue, right? It's still JavaScript. So we can comment those styles for now. Janiel says, I know HTML, CSS, JavaScript. How should I proceed further? Well, you're in the right place. Hop on this and let's do React. I think you have the good skill set. If you have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then go for modern JavaScript frameworks. I think that's the next logical step, I would say. Unless... No, there's no unless. You could just continue like that. Yep. Or you could also work with APIs, maybe. Yeah. I actually have like a beginner-friendly API episode. It's the yes/no API. You can check it on the ultimateapichallenge.com or here on YouTube. I also have a playlist. You can see it there, and you could try and work with JavaScript and APIs to maybe understand the asynchronous things and how to fetch data and everything. But maybe you already know that. I don't know. But yeah. I mean, aim for as much practice as you can, because that's never enough, really. It's always practicing more and more and more and more and more, and then more. This probably sounds very silly, but that's what it is, really. Like, it's really a hands-on kind of industry. There's no other way around it. But yeah, knowing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is already really nice. So where did we, here in app.js, let's import our SideNav, and then here and now we're going to see our SideNav. Yay! Then we have our dashboard. Let's do that. Dashboard. Again, Index.js. You see dashboard, dashboard.gsx. Yep, RCC. Also, can you hear my keyboard? Is it fine or is it annoying? I was changing like some settings of my microphone because I watched like a couple of minutes of yesterday's recording and it was like very pitchy. I don't know. I'm sorry if that bothers you. I didn't notice. I was going for like deeper voice and not pitchy voice. But that's what happened. Then we have dashboard.module.css. And here we're going to import it. Cool. So again, commented just so it's not going to give you like any errors because sometimes it complains. And then we're going to go to our app.js. Yeah, you're seeing everything. I was thinking if my head is over on that, it's not. Dashboard. Sometimes I need to double check my typing because I like swap letters. I remember in my first job, I like all the time, all my pull requests were declined because instead of play, I was doing like streaming stuff. Instead of play, I was writing palai, so the L and the A would be like swapped, and I wouldn't even see it in the code. Like I wouldn't recognize it. It was like, yep, play, it works. So now I have like a spelling thing, just to be sure, because sometimes I still have it. I don't know. It's just like, you know, like when you type, your fingers are kind of like doing that by themselves. So I don't know. Okay. So we have our TopNav, SideNav dashboard. Very nice. Now we need to make it look like this. Okay. And you see, like, just like setting up a project is already like taking us a lot of time. And it's not because I talk. It's just this whole thing of like typing and doing and blah and blah and blah. So yeah, take some time. I will do 1-2 API project and then move to React. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because like working with the APIs is also very much part of JavaScript, and like React is just like its own ecosystem. So you would apply your knowledge of JavaScript in React. So that can be very helpful. It's a good idea. So now we have these things. How about we're gonna like create some colors, right? Because we need to match the colors that we see here with our stuff. Should we give like a generic color to everything? Yeah, let's maybe. I don't like this class name app. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm gonna remove it. Then Nicholas, well, that's it, right? Nice stream. React looks nice. Okay, bye. That was all. Ta-da! Yeah. But this is the funny part, isn't it? Like you're doing all of that. You're like, it looks like a lot of code, and you did so much, and there's like what 14 files to commit, and then there's like the customer on the other side, and all they see is this crap. They're like, so what did you do? And I was like, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but I did some stuff, I promise. But yeah, that's the forever topic with developers, and then like people who are assessing how much developers are doing and if they're doing enough and why they are paid so much. Let's not talk about that, right? But yeah, takes a lot of time. It's not just like putting a text here and here and here. I mean, it is, but it's not. So what's gonna be our color? I removed this thing because I didn't like it. Also, Can we use... No, it doesn't matter. Forget it. It needs to be a div probably, because I don't see that we import React here. So I think it's kind of like, it's a special thing. Are we going to change it maybe in index? Should we put it in the body? So first of all, do we like the font? I think the font is fine, right? For now. What is this color? I don't have, do I have a picker? I don't have a picker. Well, I can create a picker. So let's say I want to create a background color. Look at this hack. Look at this hack. I feel so hacky now. So if I create like hash FFFFFF, I click on enter. It doesn't matter which element you select. It really doesn't matter. So if you click on this one, you have this whole menu and you have this little thingy here. How is it called? Color picker. Thanks. And you can actually hover on it and then it's going to give you the value. These are the moments where I feel smart. Not like doing like JavaScript stuff, you know, like these are the moments. So background color is going to be this. And are we going to use CSS variables or not? I think this is the only place where we're using this color, or not. Yeah, okay, fine. For now, we're not going to use CSS variables. We can extend our app later on. We can also add a dark theme if we want, which is, I actually have a Medium article about how to add a dark theme and how to use CSS variables for that, if you're interested. But yeah. So background color is going to be this. Let's see if that changed. I think it is. It's not white. You see, like the inspector is white and this one is not white. So it must have changed. We could also check that by going to the body and seeing that our background color is this now. Awesome. So we don't need this code thing because we're not going to write any code tags. Our app CSS, we can delete it. We don't need it. Then in our app.js, we need to remove the import of it because otherwise it's going to continue to search for it. Then we have this. What else do we need? Which other colors? So we have like this separator thingy. Let's find that color or not. Do we want that? It's barely visible. Okay, that's gonna be our border color. So I'm gonna go again to our index CSS. I'm just gonna leave it as a command in order not to forget. Border is gonna be this. Okay, then we have the icons color. Just gonna collect the colors now, which is this one. Hi Dana, I'm late. No worries. It's gonna be recorded as always. We just did like a very basic structure of our project. We still didn't do some of the heavy liftings. And in the beginning of the stream, I was like, we're gonna do this, and that, and then like, boom, done. Yeah. We're at this. So, talking about estimations and developers being wrong about that. So this is probably our text color, right? Text. Good evening. Hello. Devashish. Am I pronouncing it right? Good evening. Is it evening for you as well? Okay. Text is going to be that, although this color and this color is different, so I'm not sure. We're going to make it simple. We're going to have only one text color, okay? And then what else do we have? We have some of those accents. We have the green. We're going to take some time until we are in the green stuff. Okay, I think like with 3 colors we could start, right? So we have our background color. we have our border color, and we then have our text color, which is actually like, if you're doing variables, don't name them like that, because that's not really, I mean, that's not true. You could actually name them like that. Don't name them like blue or gray, because if you want to use like dark theme or sepia theme or any other theme, then it's going to be a little bit weird when your dark gray becomes light gray in value, right? Yes, you pronounced it right. Cool. It's 12 a.m. Ooh, that's a little bit late, right? No? Well, 12 a.m. 12 a.m. is night, right? Yeah. It goes like later on that side of the planet. Yeah. That's pretty late. But glad you joined. So, let me rearrange myself. What are we going to do now? There are so many things to do. Okay, let's create our site navigation. Let's do that. I don't have the icons. Also, a question: do you want to use our own icons? So I could prepare them maybe for next time. I could create them in Figma myself. Myself. I'm just gonna take it from a plugin I have there. Or we could use Font Awesome. That's also an option. Or Bootstrap has icons. Yeah, it's not here. Yeah. So Bootstrap icons has the, oh, we need to implement? It doesn't come with it? Wait. If I, maybe in the 5th version it comes? I'm trying to expand it to see if I can select versions. Bootstrap icons. So you see they have their icons, we could use that, but I actually thought that it comes already together. Wait, I think they had some like Bootstrap Glyphicon. Yeah. Yeah, what is this? Bootstrap 4 is here. Okay. More like Bootstrap 5 is here, right? So we could use those, but we were probably going to be a little bit limited. What's the dashboard? What's the menu? Yeah, it's not really, it's a very basic set. Yeah, I would not use the glyphicons of Bootstrap. So let's for now put like placeholders for the icons, like create the space for them, create the correct padding and everything, and then probably like tomorrow in the next stream, we're gonna import and use the icons themselves. But we for sure don't need this to stop us from continuing now with the SideNav. Or the TopNav, what do you want? What do you prefer, TopNav or SideNav? Which one should we go first? The trick to find color is really useful. Great hacks. Yay! I'm very amazed by that. I actually, I don't think I've ever used it like this necessarily. I mean, I probably have used it in my own website, but I didn't use it like on Dribble while doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, glad I was able to share that with you. SideNav. Okay, let's go for SideNav. So where is our SideNav? Here it is. So again, the topic of HTML tags. So instead of the div, I guess we would use the nav, right? Because that's the navigation or not. Let's check. SideNav tag HTML to find like which one is the semantically correct. So no stream on Twitch. What do you mean? No stream on Twitch? So aside is an HTML tag, while sidebar is the user interface element. Daniel, hi Denise. Yes, sir. How is it going there, sir? You okay, sir? So the secondary coordinates are often represented as sidebars. Sidebar and aside are different. So wait, are you telling me that I'm not supposed to use the aside? How do you make a SideNav in HTML? Use a div. Yeah, no. Or maybe Danish knows. Danish, which HTML tag would you use to display, not to display, like for this SideNav? So the nav would probably go for the top nav, right? But then the SideNav, is it also nav or is it aside? You don't stream on Twitch? Nope, I'm only on YouTube. Best HTML marker for cyber. Where is this? But since your cyber is presenting a collection of links to other pages, I would go for nav. Div with asides or aside. Okay, I'm gonna go with aside, right? Let me know if you have other opinions or any good insights or any insights, really. So let me put aside. As you can see, I clearly don't use it that much usually in my line of work. I don't think I've ever implemented an aside at work. Yeah, and you always see me comparing like to work stuff because, well, I spend a lot of time there, so that's where my whole kind of like experience come from. Nav tag, yeah, no, I would use a nav tag for the top nav, so for this part, and this part is going to be the side nav, aside. Okay, anyway, we have our aside, and let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 divs as placeholders for now. Boom, 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 boom. Then another one is going to be here for the image that we need to put there. So here's another trick, since we love tricks here. Let's put it like dot image, and when I do dot and an image and I click on tab, then it auto completes to a div with a class name of image. That's Emmet, and I mention it all the time because it's really nice. But yeah, let's so for now it's a div, even though later on it can be an image, and we're probably gonna find an image and put it there. But just for now, to kind of like figure out the spaces and figure out the structure of it, let's do it like this. And then here we're also going to have a separate one, which is the arrow, although I don't know what the arrow does. It probably expands it, right? It makes it bigger, and it probably adds like some space in here. Do we have like a mock-up of that? No, it's always closed. Let me close it. Well, anyway, whatever. Let's do, did I just add this div? Let's just do dot arrow to know that this is like the expander of our things. Okay, and those divs are gonna be class name. Oops. Oh yeah, silly me. Styles dot. What are you doing? Styles dot icon. So I told you that we're using styles, and here I am writing just image. That's not what we're doing. And what am I doing like curly brackets? Nobody is asking. Because you see, so the difference between regular class is that you just write it in quotes. But if you want to use the styles, which we import kind of like as an object, and all the styles hold inside of them all the classes that we are defining in our CSS. So this is what we're doing in here. If you want to use JavaScript in JS6, so in React, instead of just plain strings, then you need to open curly brackets and then you write JavaScript when it comes to like attribute stuff. So let's do styles dot image, right? You can do image, you can do image, you can do profile pic, you can do anything you want because it's gonna be scoped to this part. Styles dot arrow. Yeah, lovely. Tons of divs with nothing. Let me close those things for now because we don't need them. And I'm gonna close all the others. So we have our SideNav and then we have our CSS. And okay, this one I'm gonna put it on the bottom just to have it on one screen. So we have the image, which is our dot image. Then we have our dot icon. And then we have our dot arrow. So the image is gonna be border radius 50%. And the width is gonna be, I don't know, like 50 by 50, might be too much, 50 pixels. And the height is gonna be also 50 pixels. So yesterday in the stream, there was a question when to use pixels and when to use REMs. So for example, in case of this image, when it's like a very tiny profile pic, I wouldn't use REMs here. I would go for pixels because it's very, like, I don't think that there is much of a need in order for the user, if they increase their font size, to have this image bigger. So that's why I would go with pixels here to just keep it simple and keep it like very, very set. So then we have our icon. Wait a second, our image, because it's not a real image right now, it needs to have a border. It needs to have a background color because otherwise we're not going to see anything there. And our background color, let's check. Let's select maybe green. Cool. Then our icons. Our icons, we're also going to give them a width and a height just for now before we have the actual icon image there. And they're going to be a little bit smaller than the image, and let's say 35 pixels. And the height is also going to be 45 because they are squares. Okay, then what? Okay, let's put a background color as well because, as I said, it's a div with nothing yet. It's not going to have anything inside. Which background color are we going to give this one? Hot pink. Yeah. And the arrow, let's copy this thing. Actually, we don't even need to define a specific class to it, right? Because it's still an icon. So save that and rename this to icon. We don't need the arrow. That's like another thing. Like you see that it, like visually, it's different, right? Because it's not in the same thing, but it's actually the same thing. The thing that is responsible for making it look different is not the class of it. So again, how many times did I say thing? I don't know. Don't drink and play. I'm gonna close this one just so we see what's going on. Let's maybe comment our TopNav and SideNav from our app.js because they're just gonna annoy us right now. Yeah, here's our lovely SideNav. So SideNav, let's give it a class name of styles hot pink. Yeah, baby. See? I mean, it's a great combination, right? The green and the hot pink. Styles dot SideNav. And the thing about also like this being JavaScript or like modules is that you can actually write camel case. I mean, you probably can also do it with usual styles, but I know like there's like naming conventions where you should not do it, and there was like a discussion like if we should do that or not. Just do it, it's fine. So SideNav is gonna go higher because it's the parent, not that it's gonna matter, but I like to keep the hierarchy a little bit more clear here. My throat starts on giving up on me. I don't know how people do that for like 10 hours. So SideNav, let's give it a border color. So a border, 1 pixel solid brown. Now brown is gonna look bad, right? Let's do blue. It's gonna pop. Yeah, cool. I don't know if you see it because I had some there we go. Now we can see it, I hope. So as you can see, this is our div now, which doesn't look quite the same as this div that we have. So what we need to do is to shrink it in size, because div is like it's a block element. It's going to take the whole space on the page horizontally, and it's going to take the height as much as its elements need, unless you define otherwise. So that's their native behavior of the divs, and also of a side. So let's define our width of this div, which is gonna be 80 maybe. Does that look fine, or is it too big? 70? Yeah, maybe our image is just too big. Oh, that's still big. Let's do 65. Because like the SideNav is just like one part. You don't need to have it like so prominent on the screen, because it's like, it's not the main thing why users are there, right? All right. And let's also give the icons a border in order to understand where is what, because now we have like one that is arrow, one that is something else. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, maybe 2. And what goes well with hot pink? Nothing. That's another life lesson there. Nothing goes well with hot pink. I don't know, yellow? Probably yellow is gonna eat my eyes. Red? Royal blue. Rebecca purple. Thanks, Rebecca. We're gonna use your color. Okay, cool. So, and remember that the bottom one is our arrow. So now we need to stretch it to be the whole size of our screen, and we're gonna make it 100 height is gonna be 100 vertical height. So I'm not using 100% because percentage is not really working here. You see, percentage is like taking just the elements that you, black, what are we, basic? Hot pink with black? Well, yeah, you might be right. But we love Rebecca, okay? We keep in Rebecca here with us. So anyway, height of 100% is gonna be like choosing, it's gonna be selecting just like the elements that it has there and adapting to it. That's how I see it, right? So we don't want that. We want actually like the element to take the whole height of our screen and be of that height. So that's why you have VH. VH is vertical height. It's not the same as pixels. It's, I don't know the biggest difference, but so the biggest difference I know is that pixels, you would actually need to define, let's say 600 pixels. But what if your screen is shorter? Then the 600 pixels is still going to be 600 pixels and it's not going to work out. It might be cutting or not getting into the end of it. And VH, vertical height, it's actually taking your user's screen and those 100 units and putting it there. So that's why it's better to use that. You should make your own color, something like Donna Awesome Black. Yeah, that's true. I might need to ask the JavaScript people where to apply for colors. That's a good idea. Jealous of this Rebecca, for sure. Never mind. We're gonna cheer for Rebecca and make into the CSS. Who is this Rebecca? I'm now really like curious about that. Anyway, maybe I'm gonna Google that later. Why 100% is not working? So 100% is taken, as far as I understand, 100% is telling the div to be 100%, right? And for the div, 100% of a height means take all the children that the div has and make that div 100% height that the children need. So that's why we don't see any difference here, because it's the same for us, right? I think height of 100% and in general like percentage works like in other places or other scenarios, but just know that given height in 100% measurements is not going to work as we think it is, and it's not going to work the same as width 100%, because for example, if we use width 100%, that works no problem, see, but not with height. Height is tricky, so just something to remember. So now we want to have almost all of those elements except of the last one in the center and then the last one at the bottom. And how are we going to do that? With Flex. Yes, my favorite. So let's do SideNav is going to have a display Flex. Save it, and now it's all cramped in one, and we need to give it a flex direction of a column, because I don't know if many of you know it, but display flex can work both ways, like horizontally as well as vertically, and it's pretty awesome. So now if we want to give it a justify content, we want to have a space between. Gonna save it, and voila. But it's not necessarily what we want entirely, because we want those elements to be together, and in order to achieve that, we need to wrap them in their own div. So like this. Boom, boom, boom. How cool is that? It's a little bit off, isn't it? Like, it seems like it's a little bit too low. Or maybe that's just like the Rebecca purple in me speaking. So let's give it maybe some paddings to these divs. So to the icons, oh, okay. We also want to center it like horizontally, right? Because now it's to the left side. And you could do that by align items, I think. Would that be like this? Yes. Sweet. Okay. Okay, what? What did I have in mind that I said okay? All right, let's give some padding to the aside thingy from top and bottom, because now it's like touching the top and touching the bottom, and we don't want that. Wow, yeah, see? It's really nice. And it was easy, right? Like, we were creating all these elements and everything, and like writing and writing and writing. We were seeing like something very not attractive, and then boom, 4 lines of code and you got it done. That's why I really like Flex. And that's why I was suffering in the previous streams where we had to use CSS Grid. Flexbox is so much nicer. It's like you just say it and it's done. You know, there's no need to like, I don't know, dance around it. I'm really so bad at web dev. Well, here we are. We're going to learn to be better at it. Don't worry. I'm sure there are like tons of things that we are all bad in. It's just like, I have used Flex in so many scenarios, I don't even know how many, that I'm already like, well, I still kind of like confuse it sometimes. But in general, the more you practice, the more you're going to get to know stuff. So remember, Rebecca is there. She's helping us. So we're going to make it. Let's give it a padding. Padding. We're gonna just do top and bottom. Let's do 1 rem and 0. The 0, so the 1 rem, if you do 2 values, is going to do the top and bottom, and the 0 is gonna do the left and right. Save it. Yay! Hi, it's Pilot. What's up? So, does that look fine? I think so. Let's maybe give the icon. Coding is terribly hard. Well, we are here to kind of like make it less hard and go through it together. We're kind of like partners in crime, you know? We're going through things together. We're creating a strong bond with code, and we're gonna make out of it alive. We will. Tired, exhausted, but alive, and with knowledge. And that's the goal, right? So now I want to give some spacing to these ones, but I don't want to give it to the icon in here. So I'm gonna give it now all this naming, like styles dot what? Panel? Let's call it panel. Wow, that was very fast naming there. So let's do dot panel, and then dot icon. I agree, it's hard. Yeah. Can you make an Instagram report bot? Just asking. I've never done anything so like with Instagram, so I guess my main answer would be no. I don't know. Never tried it. I'll be lurking around, have a couple of meetings now. Okay, have a nice day then, I guess, right? You're not having meetings at night, I guess. And thanks for joining. It was very fun having you here. And I'll check the 1080p. See ya. So panel and dot icon. We're gonna have some. We actually don't need to give it a padding. We need to give it a margin. And as I previously mentioned, I prefer giving margin bottom because then it's kind of like it just makes sense. I don't know, because you know how the whole like element. Why did my Spotify stop? Let's put some music. Do you hear the music, by the way, or is it just me? So the whole element thing in HTML starts from like top left, right? And then it kind of like pushes things down. So by going with this logic and with this kind of flow that HTML already has, I prefer to add in margins to the bottom of the elements when it comes to spacing between them. I feel like it's more natural. So let's add 0.5 rem. Is it? I mean, once we're gonna have the icons, we're gonna see, because I think the icons are also like much smaller than what we have right now. We could do it like 25. Let's save it. I think we need much more margin. Let's do 1.5. Yeah, I think this one looks nice. I think we're getting somewhere with this one. Like if you visualize things, okay? I know it still doesn't look like that, but we're getting there. Still think the image is a little bit too big. Let's make it 35. Save it. If I send the code I have for a report bot, can you see if it's good enough? In which language did you write it? So yeah, I think this looks nice. We can remove Rebecca for now, but she's always in our hearts. And yeah, I think this is good. This is good. Next time I'm gonna prepare the icons so we can swap them later on. And it's gonna look a little bit better. Oh, but we could probably give them like the background color of the ones that we want. What was our background color? Where is it? Here. No, our text, right? We wanted this color. So if we're gonna give it, sorry, hot pink, you also were and still in our hearts. Yeah, and the border as well. Python. I don't know Python, so I cannot help you with that. I know JavaScript and only JavaScript. So this is what we have. Maybe our border color, wait a second. So we have now a border all over the place, but we want only border right? Border right, and it's gonna be like 2 pixels maybe. And the color of the border, what was it again? We already checked. It's this one. Ooh, fancy. Wow. Like you almost cannot say which one is which. Oh, nice. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of us. Good job. Good job. Very good. Okay. Want to do the top nav? Just so we have it for today already, right? Feeling like it? Let's go for it. Where is the top nav? Here it is. So top nav is going to be just a nav. And then inside we're going to have some elements. Let's maybe first uncomment it from here because we removed it. It's going to have some issues once we uncomment it and we show it because, you see, as it's above the side nav, then it's going to go straight away like on top and going to push the side nav down. So we have several ways how to fix that. We or can give the top nav like a position absolute and move it, or we could give it to the side nav. I don't know if you need to give it to both. I don't think so, but let's try. Wait, let's keep that thing and let's go to the side nav. What do we have here? So I wanted to put it as position. I think we need a position fixed in here. And the top is going to be 0. Yeah. But it didn't move our top nav. So I think we will still need to give like a margin to our top nav. Let's give it a class name. Styles.topNav. And we're going to go to our CSS to the top because that's what I like to put my classes in. TopNav, and then our margin left, because we need to push it from the left, is going to be 60 pixels, right? That was the width of our... No. Was it 65? Yeah, it was 65. Plus the border, let's do 70. Yeah, and that's how we have our top nav. Okay, now let's do a border bottom of what do we have here. So we can just copy that because it's going to be the same property, but in the bottom. Cool. How did you open 2 files simultaneously in VS Code? So for example, if let me put this here. Let's say I start with 2 files here, right? So you open the 2 files, that's how you see them. And then you click on it and you drag it, and you see you kind of have like a selected window. And if I drag it to here, then it shows me that it's going to be there, or you can do like this. There we go. You see, and that's how you open those things. It's really helpful if you have like smaller files and you just want to like have them simultaneously. I really like it. Then I still think that it's a little bit too much, right? Because now you can see that it's not, that it's missing. I don't know if you can see it. Whoopsie. You didn't need to know that I can do the font that big. Jokes on me, of course. So this one has a little bit too much of the margin, right? So if we remove it, there we go, 65. Ah, okay, we didn't need to account for the border? So let me show you what I meant. There is the width that we assign. So I like to check in the computed, because here you can see the margin, the border, the padding, and everything. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I thought, oh, that actually makes sense. So you give it like a 65, and then it gets the border from that width. Okay, I never pay attention to that. I didn't know. Yes, it's cool. Thanks. Awesome. Glad it helped. So many like hacks today. I like sharing hacks. Alrighty. So why is this having like this? I sent you the code on Instagram. It's pilot, but I don't know Python. I don't think I will be able to help you. And also, why do you need like a report bot? What's like your moral thing there? Do I want to help? I don't know. Who you gonna report? So I don't like that it has so much margin. So let's, I mean, do we care? Because how is it gonna be here? It's gonna be just centered. Yeah, we do care, but we're not gonna have the top nav, so we can remove that anyway. What we are going to have is probably links, right? Which we probably should have done also in here, but we're gonna do it later on once we have the icons, okay? Because then we will see like more things more clear, because yeah, let's just not do it right now. So we have constructor, search bar, and then a dashboard, orders, sections. So what is the reasons gonna do? I don't know. And then again, like my question is, so if you have all of these ones here, aren't these ones duplicating it? So how about we're gonna write just like a logo, so like the name of our invented company or invented product, and then we're gonna have a search bar on the side. I think that can be nice, right? So it's a long story, but I'm an Instagram seller that sells accounts for games and stuff, and the community here isn't very polite. They mainly target people and ban them, so I'm trying to get a bot. I sent you a paste bin and the code is in it. I didn't make it, someone else did. I see. I still will not be able to help you because I don't know Python. I have zero clue about Python. So I think you're asking the wrong person here. But I guess your intentions are nice. So let's write our brand name as like an H5 maybe. Dashy dash. Is dashy like something bad? What's a dashy? Showy, stylish, dashing. Yeah, we like that. Dashy dash. Call us Dashy dash. That's us. Yeah. No. So what's going on here? Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a height of. So I think the height here is bigger than the width here. Although, does it need to be? I don't think so. But okay, let's give it maybe. Of 50 pixels. And then I'm watching this one to see it. Yeah. Oh wait, we didn't change the margin left in here. I just changed it in the inspector. There we go. No, it needs to be bigger. 85. Ugh, what am I changing? 70? That's too big. What if I do like 65? That's okay. I'm not sure if it's Python. Here, look, this is an example. Username input, your username, password, input. Yeah, so it has int. That's for sure not JavaScript, and print. It could be Python. Or maybe Java. I don't know. But it's not JavaScript, for sure. But hey, on Instagram you have tons of Python coders. You can approach them. Like, just like follow the hashtag of like Python something, coding Python, I guess. I mean, you probably gotta get tons of other people, and probably me as well, but I'm not a Python coder. Now I would like to align it, right? So we don't have this text anymore. Maybe we can call it brand. And then our top nav. Yes, it's Python. Java doesn't have print. Oh, okay. See? What does Java have? Something out? Class name. Styles. Dot brand. Save it. And then we're not gonna change the font size, but we are gonna remove the margin. I'm gonna give it a 0. In Java, it is system out print in. Okay, good. See, I have no clue about those things. I know, console log. Okay, margin 0, that's good. And now our top nav. Surprise, surprise, we're gonna use display flex again. Did you see that's another thing in VS Code? I actually saw it once that my boss was doing, like in another company. For example, if I want margin bottom and I don't want to type it, I just do MB and press enter. Et voila! And the same with display flex. You do display and then you do flex. Boom! Really, like, all those tools make us type way less than before. So display flex. We're fine with keeping. So, okay, before we go there, let me maybe add the search input. So it's going to be an input, and it has a type of search, and that's all we need for now. So there we go. This is our input. And now, if like we want to have it all in one line, so if we save the display flex, then that's actually going to help us. But now we need to align it like center. And remember, so in the SideNav we did display flex, but we did flex. What did we do? We did flex. Hello, I just did it. Flex direction column, and then you kind of like swap the properties that you're using. So the align items in our SideNav in the column, move them to the center. But in horizontal flex, so when it's not column, when it's a row, which is by default, you're gonna use it for the horizontal. You're gonna align items center with not with justify content. Yeah, so that's like another thing to remember, that those properties, they kind of swap if you change the direction of the flex. So we're gonna be putting here align items center. There we go. Very nice. Let's give it some padding. Actually, no, why padding? It should be a margin, right? Oh no, it shouldn't be a margin. It should be a padding, because otherwise our border is gonna move. Look, so if we're gonna give it a margin, let's say from the left. Well, I don't need to show you. We actually did it already. No, so padding. I want to put now only horizontal padding. I don't want any vertical padding. So it's going to be 0 and then 1 rem. Right? In the column, so like in the SideNav, we did differently. We did 1 rem 0 because we wanted only top and bottom, and horizontal nothing. Here we want different, like the opposite. And this is what you see throughout this TopNav and SideNav, is that those things are kind of like swapped. Yeah, so here's our search thingy. Then, so we said we're gonna push it to the side, And we can do that by doing justify content, space between. There we go. Very nice. Let's give it maybe some. So first, let's give it a class. I see that we still didn't give it a class. Class name, styles.search, and no, TopNav, sorry. .search, and it's gonna be. So I think we want to increase the width of it a little bit, right? It's gonna be a little bit more. What is it gonna be? See, that's how you know that it's late, that my brain starts just like, what's going on? Where are we? What are we doing? So let's do a width of like 400 pixels. That's gonna be probably too much, right? Yeah. 200? 250, I think that's fine. Yeah. And then the height should be a little bit bigger. How much is our, so our TopNav is 65, so what if we do like 50 pixels? And then border radius is gonna have, let's say 15 pixels because it's a little bit rounded. No, a little bit more. 25? Yeah, I think that's what we're going for, right? Here it's like this kind of. I always get confused in Flex, how to learn and remember it. Oh, so there is this thing called Flexbox Froggy. I really like it. I played the same for the CSS grid, but play around with that. That's like a really, really good resource to kind of like play and see how things work. Check this out. And also there is another one, Flexbox cheat sheet. This one also very, very useful. So if you could, like, every time you're in doubt, just check those things out, and I think they're gonna help you eventually. As I said, like, I did Flex everywhere I touch, so it's already like almost with closed eyes, right? I still do still make mistakes, but overall it's already like a second nature. So as always, nothing new, practice. Those are two really great resources. Check them out for sure. Okay, I don't want this border. Where is this border here? Border 0. Okay, see that the outline is like this? I need to see if we can also give a border radius to the outline. Don't remove outlines. Outlines are important. For accessibility, you need to see that people can select them. Like if you click on tab, if you press on tab, people need to be able to select them, okay? So don't remove outlines. That's a big no-no. Don't do that. I think the height is a little bit too big, so 45. Yeah, that's fine. I also think that maybe this color needs to be a little bit more contrasty, don't you think? Like it feels like you can barely see the input field. Or maybe it's gonna make more sense once we have like icons on it. So let's keep it for now. Also, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm not showing you like the whole beauty of components. Like, yeah, we're doing SideNav and TopNav, but you see all this repetitiveness? This for sure would have gone into one component that you just like iterate over. So you would have here like SideNav icon, for example, you know, then you would have those several times. Or even better, you will have a loop. But I'll keep in mind. So now we're just like dumping everything, and then we're gonna be improving that in order not to just like, as I said, not gonna overwhelm you straight away with like some crazy shit. We don't need that. But just know that this is like not the end version at all. Okay. Also for tomorrow, I'm gonna try and find like another font because Dashy Dash is too cool to be written just in this font, my personal opinion. And you should think the same. Let's add a placeholder to our input. Placeholder is going to be search. And now we're going to see it here. Yep, very good. Now you can see that we need some padding. I'm going to close this down, they just confused me. So search needs to have a padding of or actually does it? So what I'm thinking now is that you see here we have this icon, how do you call it, magnifying glass, just like this one. And then we have the search, and then we have this arrow, which I assume is like a confirm or like go and search for it. So if a user selects like tab and we have like the whole outline on this, how would they be able to select this if they're not using the mouse, if they're using the keyboard? They won't. So what I'm thinking is that this whole thing, it's actually a div, and inside of it, it has 1, 2, and 3. I think that's the thing. Yeah, so here's our TopNav. Let's create a component called SearchBar, which still doesn't exist. Let's create, I'm almost going to be wrapping up soon, but let's finish this one first. SearchBar, let me make this bigger a little bit. So as always, you create Index.js, in which you do export, import, or import export of the component that you're going to be having in this folder, which you want to have available for importing in other places. SearchBar, and then we're going to have the SearchBar itself component, .gs6, RCC, SearchBar, save it, and then import, not import yet. Let's create another folder file for SearchBar module.css, and in here we're gonna import the styles. Import styles from. Do you get the hang of it already? Like, does it become a little bit more clear how to like create the structure of the components of the folder? Now we can go to our TopNav and make this bigger a little bit. So we're going to take this input, cut it out of there, you don't need it, and we're going to put it in our search bar. Keep the div, because we're still going to have a div, as we said, but one of the items in the div, so one of the children, is going to be the input field. And also we can cut out the search from the TopNav module CSS and move it to the SearchBar module CSS. Save it here. Padding, yeah, okay, no. Yeah, and then in TopNav we need to import the component. Import SearchBar from SearchBar. You see, it even auto-completes eventually. Yeah, I absolutely love VS Code. So now if we refresh the page, it shouldn't look any different. And it doesn't. Even though we changed a lot of things here, again, you know, like you can change, you can improve your code, and then eventually it comes like, I don't know who, like your client who ordered like the website from you, and they're like, so what's the progress? You're like, well, you know. Yeah, you always need to make visual progress for clients to be happy. Unless your clients understand or they're aware of things, because I can get that it's like quite hard to make people understand that, especially the ones who are not in the industry necessarily. But that's okay. That's why we developers, we need to be great communicators. We communicate with the code, we communicate with machines, we communicate with people, we communicate with everybody. So, yay! Thought to get to development and not communicate with people? Try again. So, I think I'm gonna wrap up for today. I think I'm getting a little bit tired. It's already 9:30. It's already my bedtime. I'm a very, very, very early bird, so staying quite late is not my thing. And so tomorrow, we're gonna stream tomorrow, also 7:15 p.m. So the same time. And I'm gonna prepare the icons that we're gonna put in here. We're gonna work with the search to make like the icons, and then the search, and then another icon here. And we're gonna build a dashboard. So I think for now it's really good progress, honestly, better than in our clone UI. My problem is I didn't build any projects. I just learned concepts from Udemy course called Steel. Well, the thing is that, I mean, in order to build a project, you do need to learn some concepts, right? But I completely understand that now you're kind of like at the point where in order to solidify the knowledge that you have to build things, because I mean, that's the main thing of developers, right? We build things, and there is no other way around it. So yeah. And it can be a little bit frightening because, you know, like when you start coding by yourself in actual projects, and you're just like, it was very easy during the course, but how do I do it like now? So yeah, that's why I suggest that's why I do these code alongs, because it's good if you can actually code along with me, and then like get into like having like points clicked. You know, it's like things are gonna start clicking and they're gonna start making sense eventually. So if you didn't manage to code along now, then I really recommend you to look again at this recording. It's gonna be available. Gonna put it on my page, on my channel, and code along, because that's the way how you use the knowledge that you gain from Udemy, from the courses that you've done, and actually make it into a practical skill. Can you explain search bar again? So I didn't do still the search bar fully. I just put it there in its own component. So what we did is we had it here as just an input field, right? But since it's gonna have like its own functionality, it's gonna have, so like here you see, it's gonna have one icon, then the search, and then another icon. So that's already too much for TopNav component to deal with. And that's why I put it in its own component. That's also kind of like, everybody has their own fine line between where to split things into components. But that's where I drew the line, because ideally when your search bar actually makes a search, then it's gonna be hooked up to an API call. And it's not something that the TopNav is responsible for. It's something that a search bar is responsible for. So you would isolate everything in the search bar. And the search bar is just a component, so just a function that you name search bar. You can name it as you want. You can name it search. You can name it, I don't know, whatever. And in there, I just put a div and the input that we had in the TopNav. So it's really just kind of like shuffled things. You know, we still didn't do anything else. I just copied out things to put them in the right places. And tomorrow we're gonna create it with the icons and with the div around it, and make them all like this. Because now if you're gonna add icons, then they're just gonna be outside of it, you know. But it's like, it's its own topic, and we need to like go through it properly. And I'm too tired to do it right now, so we're not gonna do it now. I hope that made sense and that answered your question, Janil. What else are we gonna do for tomorrow? So I said I'm gonna prepare the icons to put in here. The icons for these ones, for the search bar, I'm gonna prepare as well. And maybe I'm also gonna prepare like some of those images. like these icons and the dollars and everything. Gonna have a lot of icons to prepare. Oh. And I also need to work 8 hours. Don't forget about that. And sleep. And exercise. And eat. Okay, anyway. I can do that. No biggie, right? Good night. Thanks for help. It's also very late in India. 1 p.m. Ooh, yeah. I don't know how you do it. Yeah, 1 a.m. I got it. But yeah, it's quite late. You would definitely not see me at 1 a.m. here. I'll be a long time gone. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I'm gonna wrap it up here. As always, let me know probably on Instagram what's what. Our hot discussion about font sizes, I hope they're gone. I'm gonna check out if I can stream in 1080p. I should. Definitely my camera can. I'm gonna check this Streamlabs things, what's going on there. And hope to see you tomorrow. I'm gonna wish you a good day, evening, night, wherever you are. Stay safe and see you next time. Bye.